What's going on, everybody? It's Gareth with FCP. Today, I'm going to be taking you through the steps on how to do the rear brakes on a 2010 328i xDrive. The procedure is going to be pretty much the same for any BMW, but follow along with us and we'll show you how to do it. First thing you need to do is remove the anti-rattle clip. Simply take your little pry bar, make sure that it's hooked underneath the clip, hold the caliper, and it'll simply just come right off. Alright, next step, you're going to want to move the caliper guide pin cover on the back. Little flathead screwdriver. Use your little friend here. Simply pry it off. You're going to need an extension to get at this bit right here. The trailing arm kind of gets in the way, but if you have a long enough extension, you can kind of bypass it. And once it unthreads all the way, just pull it out. We'll do the same for the top. We now need to get a little bit of slack on the caliper, so just grab in the back and pull towards you. That'll compress the piston, letting you simply let it go. If you have a bungee cord, hang it from something. You do not want to stretch the brake cables. I'm just going to rest it on this trailing arm for now. So I'm going to take a 16mm box wrench. I need to remove the caliper carrier in order to remove the brake rotor. These can be a little tight, so any leverage you can get is going to be helpful. And then you need to do the same for the top one as well. Now, if you had like a ratcheting box wrench or something, like a gear wrench, it would be good for these. But you can, of course, use a standard socket if you want. Just going to release the pad from the caliper, just pull towards you. His little ears are holding in. It looks like the brake pad wear sensor just simply let go. Not too uncommon, but I'm going to let that hang there for now. With a 6mm Allen bit, just going to remove the locating screw. I'm going to use an impact for this. Sometimes these can get really rusted in there, and an impact will help break it free. So if you have one, use it. Simply going to take a lug bolt, thread it back in, show you why in a minute. This is when you bring in your friend the hammer, larger the better. I'm going to crack it around the edge here. You keep a lug bolt on to prevent the rotor from flying off at your cameraman. This is also a good time when you're doing the rear brakes to inspect your rear parking shoes. These look okay. I would replace them at some point in the near future, but for today we don't have to worry about it. There's a decent amount of corrosion that's built up on this wheel hub. You're going to want to take the time now to clean it off. Sandpaper helps, any type of abrasive, really. You just want to make sure that it's nice and clean. All right, while we have easy access to everything, we're just simply going to replace the brake pad wear sensor. It attaches to this control on here with this little bracket. So this pad wear sensor, the housing for it's up inside the fender here, or the wheel liner. And then with a 10mm then you should be able to pull the whole liner back. And right here is where the electrical connector is housed. to simply depress the little clip, just pull it apart. Always compare the new parts before installing. Make sure that they're the same length. These are identical, so you don't have to worry about fitment. Put it back in the housing, it'll snap into place. I'm gonna run these down here. We're gonna bring the fender liner back down into place and re-secure all these little bits. While we have access to everything, we're just simply going to reroute the pad wear sensor. It goes behind the coil spring. And it's going to come up here. These are very faint. You won't hear them snap into place, but they will basically just lock. You have to wrap this back around the control arm, like so. Yeah, if you couldn't see it before, I have the pad wear sensor off to the side here where the caliper will be, and then these just kind of clip into place. The wire should be underneath that control arm. Just gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on the hub here. This will prevent the rotor from getting stuck to the hub. It'll also help prevent nasty corrosion. Just put a nice thin layer on. You don't need to go crazy. Like I said, this hub was fairly clean, so I didn't spend a ton of time prepping it. This is our brand new rotor. It's a Miley Platinum rotor. It has a geomet coating, which is a zinc coating that's baked on at a high temperature. It makes it very corrosion resistant. The hub right here won't rust, and the inside here will also prevent rusting. To most blank rotors that don't have this coating on will have a oily residue on it from the factory. That's to prevent corrosion in the packaging. These are clean. You don't want to do anything. Just simply put them on. No brake cleaners required. Just gonna hold the rotor at the edges. Just push it into place. Should just line right up. And then you're gonna take your centering screw. Just gonna run this centering screw in. This is an often overlooked step. The brake pads rest in this area here. And a lot of brake dust and debris will build up in there. So take some time now. I'm just gonna take a little flathead screwdriver and just get all the stuff out. These are the rear brakes, so you're probably not gonna see as much debris as you would in the front, but you should still spend time getting all the stuff out. What I recommend doing for this to make sure that the caliper carrier lines up, you can kind of guess where it's going to be, but I recommend just pressing on the back of the bolt that secures it, and once it kind of falls into place, you've located it. Take your second bolt, also run this one in. I start by hand first. You can see right there, this tends to sag a little bit, so just pull it up as you're pushing on the back of the bolt. It'll just find its way. Start threading by hand so you don't cross thread. And once they're tight, they're tight. Take my old brake pad along with a caliper compressor tool. You can use a C-clamp or channel locks if you have those. Those are fine too, but typically these are a little bit easier to use. You can see the piston starting to detract. Once it bottoms out, you won't be able to turn it anymore. Also, if that piston is not moving, you have a seized caliper and you'll need to order a new one. Next step, I'm just gonna add a little bit of caliper lube or brake lube, brake grease, whatever you want to call it, onto the ears of the brake pad. These are what are in contact with the caliper carrier, and these need to be able to slide freely. I put a little bit on the back of the pad as well, just to prevent binding and noise. You want these to be able to move a little bit. Just gonna slide the brake pad in, line the ears up pushing into place. And your brake pad wear sensor is going to slide down into place. You're going to take the outside pad now, same thing. Just put some lubricant on the ears, and if you would like a thin coating on the back, I normally do it. And then you're just simply going to place it into the carrier, and see how easily it is, it moves. It's exactly what you want. And then you're going to take the caliper and simply slide it over. Somebody definitely did a good job in the past servicing these guide pins. As you can see, there's really not that much debris on them. Sometimes these things will be very, very black from dust and all sorts of other stuff. But before you install them back into the caliper, you're going to want to grease them up. Once again, just take your brake lube and nice thin coating. I like to hold it on the end of my Allen bit, just so I don't get brake lube all over my hands, because the stuff's not too much fun. But you're just looking for a nice thin coating. The caliper actually slides over that smooth surface, which is why you need it greased. You're going to push it through, and then you'll feel it line up, and then you're just going to start threading it in. And tight is tight, so once they're in, they're in. Next thing, you're just gonna stick the guide pin caps back over. They just simply slide into place, really no mystery on that. I'm gonna take the slack left from the brake pad wear sensor, you put it behind the bleeder screw cap like that, and then just put the bleeder screw cap back over. Last but not least, you're just gonna put your anti-rattle clip back on. I start from the outside like that, and then press into place. Push on, you hear it go snap snap, and that'll lock into place, and you're all done. All right, that's how you do the rear brakes on a 2010 328i xDrive. Of course, if you've ever done brakes on a BMW before, you're going to notice all these procedures. They're pretty much all the same. As always, if you ever have any questions, please give us a call at 877-634-0063. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.